Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Manshed. Now today's review is going to be on this. It's a fantastic little thing. It's a soldering iron I've just bought. It's called a Pinecil. And I've just got that and some extra tips. I'll show you them in more detail. But also from the same company, a company called Pine64. I bought this to use with it, which is again a fantastic desktop USB power supply. Now I'm going to do a separate review on that where I'll go into more detail, but this review is just going to be on the soldering iron. I will be using that power supply, but I'll go into details about the power supply in its own review. So I first saw this on a channel I subscribe to. It's a great channel called Adamant IT. A guy called Graham who has his own computer shop, and he does repairs to PCs, laptops, gaming consoles, anything that takes his fancy really. And he's really skilled and a great presentation style on how to do circuit repairs and stuff like that. And it looked great. I've got a couple of soldering irons that I've done reviews on, just bog standard stuff from Lidl's. And although it's fine, it does take up quite a bit of desk space. It's a big sort of thing. And it is very basic. It does its job, but it's basic. And I just fancied something a bit higher tech. Now, I don't do circuit repairs. That'd be right over my head. I haven't a clue how to do circuit repairs. I enjoy watching Graham doing on Adamant IT, but I wouldn't have a clue. But the main reason I got it for is just to use generally, just doing normal wiring stuff up for the car and radio control stuff, battery packs, stuff like that. Now, I was worried whether something so small could create enough heat for the bigger stuff. But as you'll see soon, it is absolutely flipping fantastic at it. So this is what you get in the pack. So that's the box it came in, the power supply, the soldering iron and the extra tips. Took about 2 weeks, I think, maybe 3 weeks, not sure, to come direct from China. But you do get tracking information. It tells you when it's taking off from certain airports and landing in the country and stuff like that. And the whole thing, soldering iron, extra tips and power supply, cost 70 quid. Which, for the quality and everything, I think is a bargain price. It's really nice. So let's see what we get in the package. So this is the one the soldering iron itself comes in. It just slides out. It's nicely packaged. And it's light as a feather. There's been one out evidently for years called the TS100. The tips are compatible with that, and this is just a later, well, a newer version really. And it's got, as you'll see shortly when I show you the demo, this screen here is an OLED screen that all the settings come up on, and it scrolls, and it even tells you if you're not sure what a setting is, it even tells you what it does. Again, I'll go through that shortly. But this type of soldering iron, unlike your normal bog standard one with a big hefty wire and stuff, the actual heating element is in the tip, and it's incredible how fast they heat up. I'll show you on the website soon. It says 12 seconds, and it's just unbelievable. You see this temperature dial just cycling up, and 12 seconds after you've plugged it in, it's reached 400 degrees and it's melting solder. So yeah, the way they go together is, all you do is push that in there, and you tighten this little Phillips head screw and this little Phillips head screw as well. See them there? And it just pulls in and out. Like I say, just tighten them. So you can supply it with power via 2 different inputs, either USB-C here or this round barrel type connection there. Now, Pine, I'll show you in a minute on the website, they say you've probably got a power supply that can provide it with power lying around somewhere, and it's anything from 12 to 20 volts. And yes, I've got a bucket full of, literally a bucket full of power supplies, about 20 from various laptops, tools, stuff in the loft. and loads of barrel connections. But this is just a small selection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One on the end of a power supply, and an entire box of them that I got for my CCTV. And not one single one was the right size. Either the outside diameter was wrong or the inside diameter was wrong, and I couldn't find one at all in the entire house that would fit. So I had to send off for a lead on Amazon. What it is, it's 5.5mm outer and 2.5mm centre pin diameter. So good idea, Pinecil, would be to provide a little barrel connection and lead, or just a barrel connection, and we'll solder our own wires on it, but at least we've got the right size then. So yeah, we might have one lying around, but getting the right size. Why manufacturers make so many different size barrel connections is beyond me, but anyway, that's by the by. So yeah, you can supply it with power through there, or the USB-C, and up to 20 volts, as you'll see from this power supply, via the USB-C as well. So this is the tip you get with it. Just your normal pointed sort of tip, which I find less useful really. Probably great for precision circuit board work, but not for the sort of stuff I do. So what I've got, like I say, is this extra set, and it's the, I think they call it the gross set. There's a set of really fine, tiny thin ends, and this one with the wider end. So for me, this was the better one. And as you can see, this is one of the tips. It's got like a sort of screwdriver end on it. You get another, of course, pointy tip. This one, which is like a chisel tip, that'll be pretty handy. And the one I have used on the XT, one of my favourite groups, XT60 plugs, was this one, which I found great. It's sort of like an angled but flat end, so quite a good diameter to make loads of contact with the plug. So they were the set of tips I bought. I'll just show you online now. So this is part of their website, their wiki bit, and as you see, it gives you all the menu items that we'll be seeing shortly in there, and in the order they come in, so that's quite useful as an instruction set. But as you see down here, it says, you probably have a suitable supply disused in a box somewhere. So as I've just mentioned, yes, I do have loads of power supplies and things, but not the right size barrel thing. So if you could include one, that would be really good. But this is where you order it from, and it gives you details about the Pinecil itself. So it shows you the dimensions and everything, all its features. And these are the related. Now this is the power supply I bought. Like I say, I'll be doing a separate review on that very soon. And this is the set of tips. If you don't see this down here, if this doesn't appear, this picture, because the other day when I was looking related products, this wasn't here. So if it isn't, just click here at one of these Pinecil or soldering irons or whatever, and you usually sort of find it in one of them menus. But like I say, that's the one that I just got, and it shows you here all the different dimensions of each tip. So that's much better for bigger work, bigger wires, and soldering power connectors and things like that on. And as you can see, that's $24.99, and the Pinecil itself is $24.99, and like I say, that's the one, the power supply, which I'll be doing in another review that I'll be using with this shortly to show you the demo, and that's $35.99. They do a USA version and an EU version, so if you do order one, make sure you're clicking on here the EU version. So all them three items together, the soldering iron, the extra tips, and this power supply, say, came to 70 quid, which I think is pretty good. Okay, so that's the website. Like I say, 70 quid for the whole three items. I think it is really good, and I'll show you how good it performs very, very soon. But I'll just connect it up now, and I'll connect it up via a 5-volt supply so the tip doesn't get hot, and just scroll through some of the menus on this OLED screen. Right, okay, as you see, I've got the soldering iron now plugged into this, which I got at the same time from the same company, Pine64. This is their power supply. See me other review. I've done a separate review on this. Again, fantastic piece of kit. Really good features. But check out my other review for that. But at the moment, I've got this plugged into one of the normal 5, like I say, in my other review, I explain what these various USB sockets are. But for the moment, I've got this plugged in just one of the normal bog standard 5-volt USBs. So this is just your average run-of-the-mill garden variety USB, supplying only 5 volts. And as you can see, it's showing DC low. I'm doing it via this during this demo because I don't want the end to get hot and burn something or whatever. So this 5-volt is enough to power the display and the menu screens, but not to power the actual soldering iron itself. So that's why it's showing DC low on that. I'll show it plugged in the full voltage power supply soon. But as you can see, if we press now this button here, that's sort of like your main sort of screen to begin with, set up. As you go from that, it says power source DC. And if you're not sure what anything means, if you just let it scroll, if you just ignore it, and it tells you what all these functions are. So that'll tell you it's the cut-off voltage for whatever you're running it on. So if you're running it off, say, a 12-volt DC battery, a car battery, it will cut off power to the soldering iron when that source reaches 10 volts. So it doesn't totally run down your battery. Or if you're using a battery cell like this, which I'll show you again in a second, a 3S, a 4S, a 5S cell battery pack, you can set it to, again, not run down lower than 3.3 volts per cell in there. So that's that menu. So I won't go through every menu, but so as we click on here, it goes through the other. Now this is the quick charge voltage. So this, the desired maximum quick charge voltage that the iron negotiates for. So again, you can alter all them as we get on to the next menu. So the left hand button is like switching between menus, and some menus have sub menus, and that's user interface, advanced options, soldering settings. So if we click the button on the here, that's where you can set the boost temperature. So if you were soldering like a large object with like a big ground plane or something like that, you can set the boost temperature where you can hold a button to give it that extra oomph, and you can set that at various temperatures. If you go past your temperature, like if I want 330 and I inadvertently go to 340, you can't press this minus button to go back. You end up in a different menu. So you've got to keep going right round. It goes right up to 450. So I'll set that at, say, 380, because I believe these it doesn't do much good to the tips getting them much above 400. I may be mistaken, but if I set that to 380, like I said, if I press minus, it goes into a different menu. Now this is the start menu. You can either set it to just start straight away as soon as you plug it into a power supply, or you can set the sleep mode so that when it's not in movement, like when it's still like that, it's in sleep, but when you pick it up, it detects the movement and turns itself on. So it's sleep temperature, so you can set what temperature it actually runs down to while it's in sleep mode, so 60, 70, 80, 90, so set it, say 100. And then sleep timeout, so it'll go into sleep if it's not used for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or whatever. User interface, that you can select different, like I say, I won't go into every single sub-menu, but you can select different displays, really tiny print with lots of information on, or just the basic information and things like that. Advanced options, I'll show you that. Power limit, so if the power limit is off, there is no limit, it'll just use a maximum power, or you can set it to only use a maximum of say 30 or whatever watts. And detailed idle screen, again, when it's in idle setting, if you click that, you can select a little tick in that box or off, and it just gives you more detail in the idle screen, and the same in the soldering screen, so when it's in use. Factory reset, calibrate the temperature. I would imagine if you had like a thermocouple attachment on your multimeter, you could attach that to the, which was highly accurate, and calibrate the tip temperature perfectly. Although for my purpose, you know, I have no need for that sort of accuracy, but the facility is there should you need it. As you see, as you go through each menu item, if you're not sure what it means, it scrolls on screen. It doesn't give you an intensive meaning of what it is, still leaves you in the dark if you're not too sure about some things, but I'm sure a bit of Googling would bring up the answers. So that's it, running on, like I said, just on 5 volts. That was only enough to power that menu screen, and the tip of the iron is still stone cold because it hasn't got enough to power it. But if I now plug in a USB-C by USB-C lead, and this is one that'll, it's a braided one, it's capable of taking full voltage. This PD 65 watts outlet on this power supply is power delivery 65 watts, so it'll give up to 65 watts of power out at like 20 volts, and that gets this up to temperature unbelievably quick. So I'll show you what I mean. If I unplug that there from there, plug it in. Now if I plug that in this power supply now, just watch how quick this thing gets up to temperature. Right. Look how quick this is rattling up. 250, 260, 270, 280, 290, 300, 310, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 400. And that's keeping at that temperature that I programmed in earlier on. If I want to get it hotter than 390, 395, again, if I short press this button here, it'll go up in 2-degree increments. That's selectable in the menus. If I long press it, it'll go up in 10-degree increments. So if I short press that now, 294, 394, 396, 398, you can see it's up to that temperature now. And just to prove it, got a bit of solder here. Make sure it's above the tea towel, and you can see that is how quick it got up to temperature. So if I unplug it now, I'm going to show you it running off this battery pack. which is one of the main reasons I got this. So I'm going to unplug this now, let it cool off. We'll come back once it's cooled right down, and I'll show you how quick it heats up using a 12 volt source instead of a 20 volt source. Okay, so this time I'll show you connected to, and this is one of the main reasons I bought this, so I can use it at the flying field if I needed to. Not that I do much soldering at the flying field, but I've got that option should I need it. As you can see, I've got it connected via this barrel plug. And by the way, this is a 5.5 millimeter outer and a 2.5 millimeter center. That's the size of a barrel plug you need. It'd have been better if Pine could have included one, as I mentioned in the intro, but they didn't. So if I plug this in here now, you will see, and you can see it's stone cold now. And if I plug this in now, you'll see how it heats up. Not as fast as on the 20 volt one, but you can see nonetheless it's pretty fast. It's up to 100, 120, 130. You'll notice before, when it was on the 20 volt input on the USB-C from the power supply, it was really, really, really fast. But even so, this is still pretty damn quick. We're up to nearly 300 now, and it's already smoking. You probably noticed the tip was smoking. I'm just looking for my solder. Here it is. Just clear a bit of away, and we're up to 350 degrees now. And just to show you, I'll put this on here. There it is. And being that nice broad end, it's plenty big enough to solder plugs and sockets and things on battery packs down at the flying field. And that's just running on this 3 amp 3 cell. So as you can see, 3 cell, 11.1 voltage. Normally it's an absolutely fully charged battery is getting on sort of like for 4 volts, so it's about 12 volts fully charged, and this is fully charged at the moment. So, and that's running on the barrel plug here. Of course, you could connect this barrel plug to a standard bench power supply and run it right up to a 20 volts input to get twice the power. Let's plug it into the USB socket now of the power supply, and we'll do some soldering. I'll solder an XT60 plug on with it. As you can see, it's on snooze at the moment. Thing as soon as I move it, I've just got an old tub of flux from my gas engineering days and plumbing days, and I've got, as you can see, this chiselled end of the soldering iron, and I'm sort of trying to work backwards so my hand doesn't get in the screen. If I just hold that on there, see that's heated it up and tinned it already. That's that half. If you solder an XT60 or any plugs like this, it's a good idea to have the mating end. So if you're soldering the female end on the male end, plug two together and it stops, because if this brass bit gets too hot, it can start wobbling around in the plastic. If you've got the mating end plugged in the other end, it helps stop that happening. Trying to do this left-handed. So yeah, as you saw, unbelievable. Like I said, I'm not used to these electronic-y type ones. The first one I've ever tried, but I would definitely recommend one to anybody really. It just gets hot incredibly quick, and even with a reasonably large area, it puts that heat in immediately, much better than most soldering irons. And as I mentioned in the intro, one of the reasons I got it was I can make up a battery pack like this and connect it up down at the model flying field if I ever need it, and plug that in there, and you can see it's heating up already. I've got a sort of rechargeable lithium ion powered soldering iron from Lidl, but it doesn't get anywhere near the temperature of this, and it hasn't got the wider blades, and it would struggle to you'd never, just hasn't got the power to solder an XT60 plug, whereas this has. So yeah, great soldering iron as you saw, and would thoroughly recommend one. So look out for that review on the power supply. That'll be coming very soon. In fact, I might upload both these reviews together. I haven't even made that one yet, but I'll probably upload and publish them on YouTube together. If you do want to subscribe, please do so and click the little icon of the shed here. Loads more reviews in the pipeline. Anything I see in Lidl's or anywhere else that I fancy buying, I'll do a review on it, and hope it will be of some use. So I'll catch you for one of them. Thanks for watching this one. Bye for now.